is a very familiar setting for postseason baseball. A sea of red at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The 2015 National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. The Cubs and the Cardinals. Chicago coming off their wild card win against Pittsburgh. And the Cardinals back for the 5th consecutive year. Baseball's best record this season. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from St. Louis. I'm Brian Anderson, along with Joe Simpson and the Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley. We are so excited to get this series started. Can't wait for first pitch. This is a matchup of history versus the here and now. The Cubs have arrived. Talk about the history. That's Dennis Eckersley, because you played for both of these organizations. You know all about this rivalry.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was with the Cubs, you felt like you're playing second fiddle to the Cardinals, but that's all changed. But there never was a scenario like a playoff game like tonight. It wasn't like this was a bitter rivalry. It was a friendly rivalry. But because this team is so hot, the Chicago Cubs, I think, Joe, the pressure is on the Cardinals to stop them.
I absolutely agree, Dennis. And the reason is because you think of a team like St. Louis winning 100 games, best record in baseball. They're the odds-on favorite to win the World Series, right? Well, not so fast. They may not win this series. And the reason is they've got a couple of key players in their lineup that are battling injuries. First of all, Yadi Molina, the all-star catcher, bad thumb. More on that as we go along. Matt Holliday missed a lot of time this year with a bad quad muscle injury. They don't know if he can run. On the other side of things, the Cubs come in red hot. They've won 9 straight games, obviously led by Jake Arrieta, their all-star pitcher. But they've got a 3-headed rookie monster that is just doing great things. How about Chris Bryant, the odds-on winner of the Rookie of the Year? Kyle Schwarber there in the background, the baby bull, and slick-fielding Addison Russell there in the foreground. These guys are outstanding. But, Brian, to me, the question mark is for the Cardinals and those injuries to their lineup.
You're right, and maybe the player who has the most impact on this series for both teams is Yadier Molina. Last game was September 20th. He's in the lineup here tonight, as Joe mentioned. Matt Weiner is our reporter. And, Matt, the major question for the Cardinals is, how effective will Yadier Molina truly be this series?
That's a great question, B.A., and we won't really know the answer until he gets out there. He'll have what Mike Matheny described as a contraption on that left thumb, fairly non-specifically, but as a former catcher himself, he says he believes Molina will be okay to receive the ball and even to hit. However, he is concerned about the possibility of a foul tip striking that thumb. He also pointed out that the wear and tear of the position likely weakened that ligament long before Anthony Rizzo's slide back on September 20th. One thing is certain. Molina's value to this Cardinal team cannot be overstated. Their staff ERA with Molina behind the plate is more than a run less than it is when he's not on the field. Brian?
Has been and still is one of the game's greatest catchers. We're moments away for the first time ever in the postseason. It's Cubs and Cardinals, and it's coming up next on TBS. And we welcome you back from St. Louis, Busch Stadium version 3. And there is John Lackey on the mound. You got a pair of old teammates matching up in game 1. John Lackey against John Lester. Teammates with the Boston Red Sox. And Lackey gets the ball for game 1. Is coming off a fantastic season. For the Chicago Cubs, the batting order is presented by T-Mobile. And here's the lineup that Joe Madden will turn in. And it's led by Anthony Rizzo. And without Bryce Harper this season, Rizzo might have made a run at an MVP award. Rizzo finishing 3rd in the National League in runs batted in. He had 31. He drove in 101. And he fronts a very talented and very young lineup for the Chicago Cubs. And Dennis Eckersley, how about John Lackey? It's amazing that he's been able to put together the numbers he did this season at 36 years of age.
He really hasn't skipped a beat at all. And you talk about Wainwright having going out, he ends up being the ace. And this guy throws nothing but strikes. You see there the 53 walks and the punch-outs fairly high, but he gave him all those innings. You see the ERA, probably one of the best in his illustrious careers, and he's had a good postseason. You talk about the Boston Red Sox closing out games, game 6 in the 2013 World Series, but this guy goes all the way back to 2002 as a rookie, closing out a World Series game.
Well, the Cardinals lost Adam Wainwright earlier this year to an Achilles injury. He's back in the bullpen, but Lackey is now their ace in the starting rotation, gets game 1. Joe, how about the St. Louis Cardinals defensively for this game 1?
They finished up about in the middle of the pack overall in the National League defensively in terms of fielding percentage, but anytime you've got Molina in the lineup, you've got a stalwart behind the plate. Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Piscotty, who is playing first base tonight. Matt Adams did not make the team because of his injury. Holiday, Hayward, and Grichuk. Holiday with the bad leg. Grichuk has a sore elbow, so Jason Hayward moves over to play center field.
All right, we are ready to roll here. John Lackey's first pitch on the way to Dexter Fowler. It is a strike, and off we go at Busch Stadium. Cubs are flying high, as Joe mentioned. They've won 9 consecutive games. They won the final 8 of the regular season and then won behind Jake Arrieta in the wild card game on Wednesday on the road in Pittsburgh. They are free and easy. They are a team that is in gravy mode right now. Happy to be back in the postseason for the first time since 2008. And that the Cardinals are the 100-win team that had the best record in all of baseball this season. The only 100-win team in baseball this year. 1-2 pitch to Fowler. And the count will remain at a ball and 2 strikes. And Dennis, it was Fowler in the wild card game that really set the tone for the Cubs. Came right out, had a base hit early in that game off Garrett Cole, scored a run right out of the gates against the Pirates. And all this talk about these young players.
That was absolutely huge. You talk about game 7 of a World Series. He ends up with 3 hits.
And a strikeout to start it for Lackey. Got him with a curveball.
You see Lackey, that's his put-away pitch, that curveball.
Tough competitor, too, isn't he, Dennis?
Yeah, you talk about Lackey goes out there, pumps fastballs a lot, but, this is a totally different situation when you talk about the playoffs, because you got guys hunting that fastball. One swing of the bat could cost you the whole game. So already we've seen a couple of breaking balls from the first hitter.
Now Lackey has had a good run this year against the Cubs as well, as Schwarber in his first pitch that he sees in the DS, a pop-up. Johnny Peralta is there and 2 quick outs for John Lackey. You can expect the Cubs to come out aggressive. Lackey is a strike-throwing machine, especially a first pitch strike-throwing machine. Over 70% of his first pitches this year were strikes, and that's a number that has been increasing for him since he's come back healthy. And Joe, the Cubs, an aggressive team anyway, are up there to hack.
They have to be. They want to jump, as Dennis said, on that first pitch fastball, and they are hacking away.
Lackey's velocity has went up this year, even at the old age of 37. You see 94 right there on the gun, but this guy can paint.
Now Chris Bryant headed to the Rookie of the Year, led NL rookies in RBIs and runs, led in total bases, doubles, all the major offensive categories. On base percentage, he was the #1 rookie, tied with Jock Peterson for the National League lead in home runs among rookies this year. And he'll be the runaway for the Rookie of the Year as Lackey pours in strike 2.
Where's that little drop down fastball? 95. What is that? He's all geared up to begin with, throwing 95.
And doesn't chase the slider.
But how about what this kid did when he was called up? He missed the first week or 10 days of the season. And after that, only Nolan Arenado of the Rockies drove in more runs than Chris Bryant.
Lackey's got them on their feet early, looking for a nice clean inning to get this crowd right into this one. And the 2-2 lays off a tough slider from John Lackey. 3-2 to count to Bryant. "26 homers, 99 RBIs. He broke both records held by Billy Williams in his rookie campaign for the Cubs back in 1961. And Bryant rips one into left field. Holiday on that hobbled leg, able to run it down, and that's the inning. And that's a great start for Lackey and the Cardinals. TBS, Matt Carpenter ready to lead off for Mike Matheny's St. Louis Cardinals. Back in the postseason for the 5th consecutive year, the 4th straight under Matheny. And Matt Carpenter with a big season in the power game this year. He led these Cardinals in home runs, and he gives you a major power weapon right out of the gates. And it's a lefty-lefty matchup right out of the gates as well. John Lester on the mound for the Chicago Cubs.
A long-time Boston Red Sox pitcher, came over to Chicago, free agent from the Oakland A's, who the Red Sox had traded to. Record doesn't show how good a year he's had. You see a lot of cutters tonight. Throws his fastball to 96, but this is a huge reason why the Cubs are where they are right now, because of John Lester.
And a huge reason they gave him a 6-year, $155 million deal. They wanted,
that too.
They wanted him for these games.
And Carpenter sends that one into left field. And that's Chris Coughlin out there for the Cubs. The ever-changing, extremely versatile Chicago Cubs. How do they set up defensively tonight, Joe?
Yeah, Brian, they get moved around a lot, and perhaps as a reason they make a lot of errors. 111 errors for the Cubs defense this year. That's the 4th most in the National League, and 102 by their infield. And yet it's a very athletic infield. Things really changed when Russell and Castro were moved around, and Russell went into the shortstop spot. 3 guys who can go get him in the outfield. And I say that knowing that Kyle Schwarber is a catcher by trade, but he's done a great job of adjusting to the outfield.
And a great keystone combo with Russell and Starlin Castro. Stephen Piscotty, who led all rookies in the National League in batting average this season. And he hit extremely well here at Busch Stadium. Very comfortable spot for him. Hit .346 this year at Busch. And hit .305 with 7 homers, 39 runs batted in. It is impressive that he is even back and playing after a very violent collision in Pittsburgh just 10 days ago. I think many thought his season, including the postseason, might end with a collision with Peter Borges at PNC Park, but he has come out of it clean, no concussion. And not only does he get the start here tonight in Game 1 of the NLDS, he's also getting the start at first base. This is one of the more wicked injuries, and at the time it looked like a very serious injury as Piscotty was knocked out cold by the knee of Peter Borges. And so, Joe, you touched on all of the injuries that the Cardinals have dealt with to their name players, guys that have been around for a long time. It's fortunate that Piscotty's back.
Very fortunate. Everybody thought that was an extremely serious injury, especially when they had to cart him off, but he's cleared all of the concussion protocols and he's good to go. I don't know that is the case for David Ross, who took a foul ball.
David Ross has had
his share of concussions.
Yes, he's had concussions in the past. He's got that hockey-style mask. He is the personal catcher of John Lester. Now, one of the reasons why there are so many standards put in for concussions is because of the guy in the Cardinals dugout, the manager Mike Matheny, who endured a number of serious concussions in his day. And that is going to be something to watch the rest of the game.
A lot to do with him retiring.
Scotty sends one a long way out of here, but foul. 2-2 the count.
Talking about having your own personal catcher, that's a beautiful thing as a pitcher. I think we all would love to have our own personal catchers, right? There's not enough catchers to go around, I think.
Cubs carry 3 catchers on their team with Montero and Schwarber. Piscotty, right field line, long run, that's going to bounce. Schwarber. Opposite field for an extra base hit. Picks up right where he left off in the regular season.
And they got shut out each of their last 3 games in Atlanta. They had a hard time scoring runs, and an early run tonight would go a long way toward propping their offense up.
Well, the last Cardinal to score a run, Cruz and Wong on Cruz's home run, that was back on September 30th. It's the last time they've experienced a run scoring. That was Game 2 of that series as Matt Holliday stands in. And all eyes on Holliday as well. Now, he's not running well, and you probably won't see him busted to first base on a routine ground ball. A couple of trips to the disabled list with a quad injury.
But already a good sign, Brian, when he flagged down that fly ball off Brian Spatz in the first.
It didn't look real pretty yet, but he caught it.
Yeah, he got there. He put on a show in batting practice today.
And Holliday back up the middle and a base hit. Piscotty around third to throw home. One hops the tag, not in time. And Piscotty is in, and Matt Holliday delivers right out of the gates.
so surprising that Lester comes back with a fastball right down the middle again after a good swing that Holiday had at the last fastball. You see, middle, he hits a bullet right up over the head of Lester's head. You see Piscotty sort of paused there for a second. That's why the play at the plate was pretty close, because he didn't get a good break. Beats the throw, and that's the run you're talking about. They haven't scored in a long time, Joe.
And they've missed his bat in the lineup so much this year. And when he's been in there, he's hit over 400 with runners in scoring position, and did it again there.
What a start for the Cardinals. Lackey retires the Cubs in order with a strikeout. Now Hayward on the first pitch. Jason Hayward hitting cleanup tonight, and out to Coughlin. That is out number 2. Back to first goes Matt Holliday.
I tell you, guys, Piscotty showed you some wheels too, because he froze for a second to make sure that ball got into the outfield and still scored from second on the hit.
That's impressive from a guy that I thought would never be playing.
Yeah.
Well, Holliday had just 22 at-bats after he came back from the disabled list in mid-September, on only 4 hits in those 22 at-bats, and that was the wait for Mike Matheny. What is he going to do? Is he going to go with experience, guys who have been there, his big names from postseasons past, as Johnny Peralta takes strike 1.
I know Lester has a hard time holding runners on, but there's no way that Holiday is going to try to make an attempt at a steal. But you're going to see it before the night's out.
And that skips away from Ross. Holiday will go to second on a wild pitch from John Lester. Let's take a look at the Chevrolet pitch tracks for the left-hander John Lester. And like you mentioned, the cutters. He can be very tough on right-handed hitters with that.
Yes, he is. But he throws a lot of fastballs. I think that's a mixture of fastballs and cutters is what it is, and that's why it's 80%. But you know, he'll throw that front door cutter to a left-handed hitter too.
1 ball, 1 strike. Power hitting shortstop Johnny Peralta at the plate for St. Louis. Big swing. He gives them a major weapon. 17 home runs this year for Johnny Peralta. He drove in 71. He's among the most productive shortstops in all of baseball. And he's got some postseason history as well. 54 career postseason games. This is nothing new for so many of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1-2 the count. And down he goes. So Lester with a strikeout to end the inning, but the Cardinals strike first. And it's Matt Holliday who drives in Piscotty. Now rookie Stephen Piscotty with a double and a run scored. And let's take a look at StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, Joe.
Yeah, you see him freeze there for just a second, but he had a great turn at third base, and he needed one because this was an excellent throw from Dexter Fowler. 19.6 miles an hour. That's picking him up and laying him down from second base for the big first baseman.
Here's Anthony Rizzo. He'll lead all four of the Cubs. And the Cardinals behind Lackey taking an early lead. Holiday driving in the run. And now Rizzo to be followed by Castro and then Chris Coghlan, the left-handed hitter. John Lackey with a nice clean first inning. Started with a strikeout and then a couple of outs in the air. Rizzo pulls it on the ground, and you see the shift is on for St. Louis.
But he's got power everywhere.
And a little jam shot out there in the grass in the rover position is long for out number one.
That's going to be a good matchup tonight, and Lackey wins that battle because Rizzo stands right on top of the plate, and Lackey likes to pitch in. Lackey able to jam in there.
That's a really difficult thing to do. You know, a guy like Rizzo, for me, throwing the ball inside to a left-hander, a guy right on the plate, if you miss, it's right down the middle. I mean, but you got to throw him in. You're playing him to pull.
Here's Starlin Castro, now the Cubs' second baseman. And hard to imagine that Castro, who is only 25 years of age, but he was in the big leagues at age 20, and so he is the longest tenured Chicago Cub right now. So many changes for the Cubs. As Lackey sinks one in on the outside corner for a strike. Lackey's throwing with good velocity early, 94, 95 miles an hour. Home plate umpire tonight is Phil Cuzzy, and there's always an eye on the home plate umpire, especially with Lester and Lackey, who command the corners very well. Chopper over to third. Scooped up nicely. Castro is retired. 2 up and 2 down for Lackey, and he's retired the first 5.
A little do-or-die pick by Carpenter makes a nice play. It's pretty much all he can do. He charges this ball and takes a shot at it. Picks it clean. Pitcher sort of holds his breath right there because that's an out, but could have easily ran up his arm.
2 quick outs for Lackey, and here is Chris Coghlan. Coghlan just started swinging the bat better towards the end of the season. The last series of the year in Milwaukee had been in a long slump, and his spot as a starter in the postseason was in question. Madden can do a lot of things with his versatile players, and there's always, Joe, that decision to be made whether Coghlan starts in left field, which moves Schwarber to right, puts Bryant at third base, or you put Bryant in left field, or you move Schwarber and let him play left field and have Bryant play third base. So there's a lot of mixing and mashing, but tonight Coghlan gets a call against Lackey, mostly because, as Joe Madden said, he's got good history.
Yeah, he's
against
8 for 17 against him.
Friendly,
he's got good speed.
Friendly strike zone so far. Cuzzy for Lackey.
Got him. And already a little barking at home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy. John Lackey finds the edge. 6 up, 6 down, 2 strikeouts, 2 scoreless for Lackey and the Cardinals. Bottom of the second inning in St. Louis, Busch Stadium. And the Cardinals have a 1-0 lead on a Matt Holliday one-out RBI single in the first. Lester back to work. Randall Grichuk leads off for St. Louis. Another of the wounded birds coming in. You see that wrap on his elbow, his throwing elbow. He's throwing the ball much better, but there was a period there they had to shut him down late in the season as he could not throw. Grichuk brings a big power bat to the lineup for Mike Matheny. Hit 17 home runs this season.
Didn't think he had power with his bat like that.
And a wave and a miss, and John Lester picks up his second strikeout. They got Peralta to end the first. Lester starts the second with a K.
He's one of those guys that starts funny, but he always winds up back in a more predictable spot.
Now big hand for Yadier Molina. Matt Liner reporting earlier about the brace and the heavy tape that he's wearing on his left thumb. I'm not even sure the Cardinals care what he does at the plate. He's the ultimate underdog at the plate right now with an injured thumb. It's all about how he handles his pitching staff, and what a major boost deck to get this guy back for St. Louis.
You know, I was surprised he was even in this lineup tonight, and I didn't know what they were going to do. And it's kind of dangerous, because if he does get hurt, he's gone for the rest of the playoffs, right? If he happens to re-injure it.
And they take him off. If they have to take him off, it includes the championship series. He could come back for the World Series if they made it that far, but it's a risk worth taking if you're Mike Matheny.
I watched him take batting practice, guys. I saw no signs of any problem. I saw him hit balls to right. I saw him pull some balls. He showed no signs of that thumb affecting his swing.
He's got a funky stance right now.
And an inside-out swing as usual. Well, Molina was actually re-injured against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. This was the last game he has played until tonight. It was a tag on Rizzo on a throw from Hayward. Now, last year, Molina injured his thumb sliding into third base. He tore ligaments, re-injured it. They said right out of the gates it wasn't that bad, and Molina will take a called strike three, and that's 3 consecutive strikeouts for John Lester.
Boy, to me, this was a very, very tentative at bat. Swung the bat once, took everything. And that doesn't look real good to me, the way his approach at all. It's like he's just like a pitcher hitting.
I'm wondering if on the foul ball, how different it is.
Right.
Live conditions versus batting practice. If that foul ball affected it somehow.
So Lester, after the RBI single by Holliday, has retired 4 straight. The last 3 have been Ks. And here is Colton Wong, who takes a strike.
Well, he's dotting it now.
And what he likes to do to the lefties is throw to that spot and then throw the cutter a little bit off the spot and move it away from it, hoping he'll swing.
And a little flare. That's going to fall fair. And Wong with great speed on his way to second base. Coughlin's throw comes in late. And Colton Wong doing a little dance. A 2-out double for the Cardinals' 8th place hitter.
How do you hit this pitch? I mean, this ball is in the catcher's glove, down and away. Boom. Takes it the other way. Can't do anything about that. Easy double for Wong with his wheels.
Wong this year hit .262. He had a great year against the Cubs, though. Hit .333 against Chicago. Had a memorable walk-off home run last year in the NLCS against the Giants. That was in Game 4 of Sergio Romo. So that clears the pitcher spot here. Lackey at the plate with 2 away, facing his old buddy, longtime friends, Lester and Lackey. And they said they'll be great friends after this series is over. But right now they're frenemies. It's 2 very competitive pitchers on the mound matching up here in Game 1. Lester and Lackey were teammates on the 13 Red Sox ball club that came in here to St. Louis and won the World Series in 6 games. And Lackey was on the mound in Game 6.
Lackey pitched so many great games in that series. In the series before against Detroit, I think he beat Verlander 1-0. But he won Game 6 of the World Series.
Well, they were traded on the same day last year. Lester to Oakland, Lackey here to St. Louis. 0-2 pitch. No problem for Castro, and that will retire the side. So Lester settles in here at Busch Stadium. 1-0 Cardinals. We go to the third. The upcoming schedule is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Coming up next, it is Mets, Dodgers, Jacob deGrom, and Clayton Kershaw matching up game one of that NLDS. And then we're back at it tomorrow. Cubs, Cardinals, Mets, Dodgers for games 2 there. And then Sunday, MLB Network has the Royals and the Astros. Royals hung on to win game 2. That one just ended moments ago, a 5-4 Kansas City win. And then the Rangers and the Blue Jays. Addison Russell leads off for Chicago. How about the Rangers, by the way? Hanser, Alberto, all these young players we're focusing in on in this series. Hanser Alberto, the replacement for Adrian Beltre at 22 years of age, had the game-winning RBI in Toronto in the 14th inning.
You know, amazingly, he had the error that cost them early in the game, really a routine ground ball that if they had lost, he would have been the GOAT. Meanwhile, he's styling right now.
So the Rangers up 2-0 in that series. 21-year-old shortstop Addison Russell at the plate for Chicago, one of the 3 rookie mainstays you mentioned in the Open, Joe.
It kind of turned their season around when Joe Madden made the move to put him in the lineup at short. Let Starlin Castro know that it was not a day off for him. It was a position change with Russell going in there. Now he's made quite a few errors, but what an athlete. And what a great injection of athleticism into their lineup.
He came to the Cubs from the Oakland Athletics. That was the deal made last year. Jason Hamill and Jeff Samardzija traded from Chicago to Oakland. Hamill's back with the Cubs.
Lackey's having a hard time getting on top of that fastball. You know, I've seen him recoil a couple of times. Trying to paint the outside corner right there. See the little recoil, a little hop, skip there. He's done that a few times. Molina back there's telling him a few things.
And Russell pulls one foul.
To me, that's not his arm slot. He's down a little bit.
He just recently for the Cardinals, he's been dropping down to that 3/4 motion, and also a bit of a quick pitch or a hurry up pitch. Not a quick pitch, that's illegal, but a hurry up pitch. And the windup as well, as Russell fights another one off.
He's getting some good action on it. It's moving. Again, a lot of fastballs. Both sides of the plate. Got a good breaking ball, too.
They dot that outside corner with sinkage out there.
3-2 pitch. And hit hard into center field. Coming in is Hayward, playing very deep, but able to make the sliding catch. Well, Hayward showing Russell a lot of respect. He was way back there. He's a right fielder by trade, certainly comfortable in center field. He makes a nice play.
See, the fastball ran back over the plate. Russell gets a good piece of the wood on that, and you see a long ways to go. And there for Hayward, he goes into the dive.
It's only typical, guys. If you're not a center fielder by trade, you're going to play a little deeper than what you're used to seeing guys play out there, just to be safe and make sure the ball's not hit over your head. Good closer there by Hayward.
Hayward played 8 games in center field during the regular season, most of those coming recently. He is a game changer defensively. Terrific throwing arm, covers a lot of ground, and that 6'6" frame too. He can go get them. David Ross, a roller to short. Peralta, and a low throw dug out by Piscotty. So a good play over there by the rookie at first base. That gives us a chance with 2 outs to check in with Casey Stern in our Atlanta studio for an update. Casey. All right, Casey, thanks. And more trouble for Johnny Cueto in the postseason. Acquired by the Royals to bolster that rotation. Well, John Lester had his troubles against Kansas City last year. You have to wonder, this is the guy who his last postseason appearance did not go well in the wild card game last season, pitching for Oakland against Kansas City, who would go on to win the World Series. And Lester grounds out against his good buddy, and that's that for the Cubs in the third. That's a 1-2-3 frame for Lackey. The 2015 NLDS on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. Moments ago, Matt Weiner caught up with Cubs manager Joe Maddon.
Well, Joe, you brought John Lester for games just like these. It seems like he's settled in since that first inning. What have you seen?
Well, they got a double down the right field line, and then they got a base hit up there. Well, that's going to happen. I think he looks really good, actually. The fastball velocity is where it needs to be. Really hasn't established the cutter yet, but he will.
You like to say, don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure. Where's the ratio on that for your young team here as we start this series?
I went around to every guy today before the game and told them to enjoy the moment. That was my message to them today. There's no team meeting right now. Actually, I liked the way we were before the game. I thought after that wild card experience, kind of relaxed, almost like a regular season feeling to it.
Thanks, Joe.
My pleasure, buddy. Thanks.
The always interesting Joe Maddon. Thanks to Matt and Joe between innings. We'll hear from Mike Matheny as well. Next inning, Matt Carpenter leads off for St. Louis. Back to the top of the order for the Redbirds here with Carpenter, Piscotty, and Holiday. And it is interesting to go through that Cubs clubhouse today. They were a loose, loud bunch.
That's what I was going to say. I wish somebody would have made me loose. I never enjoyed the moment. I mean, it is tight land. I mean, this is serious stuff, I go over there and watch those kids, and that's what tells me a lot about that club. It tells you a lot about Joe Maddon. I mean, they have so much confidence. I don't know if it's confidence or just young and they don't know any better. I mean, you're supposed to be nervous here.
I thought that when I saw this team play in the middle of the season, Dennis, and that was, they're young, they play young with a lot of energy, but they don't know that they're not supposed to be this good. And they are good.
That's what makes them scary to me.
Well, Carpenter has worked it into a full count. It's the first 3-ball count for John Lester. Giving up that first inning run, and the payoff is fouled away by Carpenter. It'll stay at 3-2.
One of the things, guys, about that first inning run for this Cardinal team that had to give them some confidence, too, is the fact that they don't hit lefties very well at all. In fact, their team batting average, the worst in Major League Baseball as a team at .230. So to collect a first inning run off John Lester, that's a big boost.
And another 3-2 hit hard into right center field. Long run, Schwarber, and he runs it down. Kyle Schwarber. Excellent play in deep right center field. Now he is a work in progress as an outfielder. He is a converted catcher. He looked good on that run.
Fastball right down the middle. You think Carpenter went bridge here, and he ran that ball down. That's a long ways to go for a guy that can't really pick him up and put him down. Doesn't necessarily catch it clean. You wonder if that ball's gone in Wrigley, depending on the weather.
Might have been. But he has worked really hard on his outfield play. Out for early work just about every day during the regular season.
Knowing outfield is where he's going to get his at-bats, as Piscotty a swing and a miss. Schwarber came up through their system as a catcher. He wasn't there long. He was just drafted in 2014. He was the 4th pick out of Indiana. But as they say, the bat plays, and Joe Maddon's going to find a way to get his bat in there, and that means more outfield work. Now, when he first started playing in the outfield, it was left field. Most recently, it has been right field. And a tremendous amount of work to get him ready for the postseason, and he feels comfortable in the outfield now as Piscotty fouls one away. The count remains at 0-2.
What was the nickname you gave him?
Baby Bull.
Baby Bull. Was that what
he is? Solid, boy.
Version 2.
Yes.
The Baby Bull.
The new Baby Bull.
Schwarber with 36 career games in the minor leagues in the outfield. They had him pegged as a catcher. A little off speed. Piscotty able to check his swing.
We were talking about these guys, though, these young players. And what I keep hearing about all of them is their baseball instincts and their baseball intellect. They all know how to play the game right. They know what to do with the ball when it's hit to them. And I think that speaks highly of not just these individuals, but their organization, too, and how they've been taught.
No matter how briefly they were in the player development system, it's still happening here at the major league level. And you could say all of those things about Stephen Piscotty as well. He went to Stanford, was a first-round draft pick. Very disappointing psychological season last year. He was a third baseman looked like there was a roadblock as they had Carpenter play third base, wondering where he was going to end up in the big leagues. Actually went back to get an engineering degree. Not sure where his baseball career was headed. He knew he was going to get a chance, but he got his chance this year. Made his major league debut in July and took off. He was a real difference maker for the St. Louis Cardinals without all of their big bats. Guys like Piscotty and Tommy Pham later in the season.
That's how the Cardinals do it. Somebody picks up the pieces. And that's the kind of depth that this club has.
Piscotty and Randall Grichuk were the two that carried this club while they were down. Their big bats were down. And now Lester again working into a 3-2 count. So a lot of pitches in this fourth inning here, rather this bottom of the third with one away.
They're laying off the cutter.
That's his punch-out pitch, obviously down and in.
Another payoff coming. And on the 8th pitch, Lester picks up the strikeout, which is his 4th, and 2 away in the 3rd inning. Say this November, they'll need every trick in the book. TNT's hit series, The Librarians, returns November 1st on TNT. Great to have you with us tonight on TBS. MLB postseason is underway. Don't forget, Dodgers, Mets coming up after we are done here in St. Louis. Very intriguing National League matchups this season. Matt Holliday takes a ball down and in.
And you've got to crowd him. If you don't keep the ball in on him, he will tear you up at the base hit. That fastball down the middle is first time up to drive in the run.
Lester threw Piscotty a changeup 3-2. You see him get behind here to Matt Holliday, so he'll throw whatever he's got anytime. He's not afraid.
Well, he's had great numbers against Lester. 7 for 18 with a homer before that hit in the first inning.
Be careful too.
2-0 pitch, and Holliday lets it loose.
But Matt said before the game that where Lester tried to keep the ball in on him, he said that one of the things that's helped make him successful, he said, is that everything from Lester to me is coming to me. So as long as I can stay inside that pitch, I've got a chance. Keep my hands inside that baseball.
Playing in his 69th career postseason game, Matt Holliday. And right off the end of the bat, right over Lester. Castro bobbles and out at first. And Holliday hobbled by that quad injury. The Cardinals might want to take a look at this. Matheny is out. Matheny is going to ask his clubhouse crew to take a look.
He's out.
You know, Holliday was moving okay. Well, he's certainly not streaking, but he never was a fast player.
Don't hurt yourself, but he's out.
Managers.
Those shoes make him look faster than he is.
How about this play around behind the neck?
Look at this. He just barely gets him.
And that strong arm of Castro. And this postseason, remember, managers get 2 challenges. It's one in the regular season, and the way the rhythm has gone during the regular season, the bang-bang plays are not being overturned typically, but we'll see a lot more cameras on this game. You're supposed to be able to get 30 seconds to make a decision. I think Bill Welke's on his way over. He says, take a look. I mean, you have 2 challenges. Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's a bang-bang play, like you said. I quickly said he was out, but it was a close play. But it's hard to overturn something once they say you're out.
I've never seen a play where the ball came loose as the guy was about to throw it and go around behind his head and then back to his glove.
It is close. They're just now showing the replay on the big board. There's a play by Castro, and he's got a cannon for an arm. That's the only reason it's even close. And remember, the ruling here is the ball has to touch the back of the leather. It has to hit the leather of the glove. It can't just disappear in the glove. So right there, and wow, that's a pickup.
Clear and convincing evidence. I don't think there's enough to overturn it.
So a bang-bang play. It's either going to be a runner at first and 2 outs, or it's going to be a 3-on-3 down inning. And the calling umpire is Bill Welke. Dana DeMuth is over there with him. Dana DeMuth is the crew chief, the umpire on the right. He'll be the one to actually get the call from the replay review center in Chelsea, New York. So,
and Dana just told John Lester, keep throwing if you want.
If you only had one review, would you do it?
You might not, especially with 2 outs and nobody on. Right,
exactly. It's not that important.
But that extra challenge does bring this into play. So as long as you challenge and you win the challenge, you get to continue with challenges. And the hands to the headsets, that means a call is coming. And what does Dana DeMuth have to report? Yes. That's an out. So the call, I'm sure, they will say will stand. And Holiday is out, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for John Lester. Cardinals on top 1-0. Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. You can celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. And here we go to the 4th inning. Lackey against Lester. Cardinals Cubs matching up for the first time ever in the postseason. In 21 years where that matchup could possibly happen. As Dexter Fowler rolls one foul. So an unsuccessful challenge by Mike Matheny. Still has 1 remaining. Holiday out. And a 3-up, 3-down for John Lester. It was Holiday who drove in the run in the first inning. If you're just picking us up, Holiday with a 1-out RBI single after a Piscotty double.
He's doing a good job. Lackey is of staying in on Fowler. That base hit and stolen base in the first inning in Pittsburgh. Joe Madden said he felt like, as you said earlier, Brian, set the tone for the game, but it showed also the aggressiveness in which they expected to play that game.
And Fowler in the air, shallow right center field. Long's going a long way back there, and he'll call it. And he's got it for out number 1, and that's 10 in a row to get his night started for John Lackey. Moment ago, good time to catch up with Mike Matheny. Here's Matt Weiner.
Well, Mike, you get the extra challenge here in the postseason. Does it change your methodology?
Yeah, if there's a play like that one, that could have gone either way, and might as well go ahead and take a look at it. These guys are good. You know, they haven't missed a whole lot all season, so might as well take advantage if we see something we didn't think looked right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't think he would have challenged that in regular season. He'd have saved it for a more meaningful spot.
And just keep in mind that once you get to the 7th inning, to the rest of the game, Schwarber takes a strike. Then it becomes, I mean, you can still use a challenge as a manager, but then it becomes an umpiring situation at that point. They can come together and decide to go take a look at replay. So it doesn't mean you're completely out. It's not like the NFL. So just because you may run out of challenges doesn't mean we might not see a review, a crew chief review later in the game.
That's why it seemed kind of silly, because they would do it on their own, and if you thought that you were out of challenges, then it seemed like you get more and more and more just because they take it upon themselves to do it, which I think is great.
Empty him out before the 7th inning, right? There's the shift that is on for Schwarber. Schwarber and Rizzo get the full swing by the Cardinal infielders. And Schwarber takes one in off the plate. Lackey has started this game by retiring the first 10. He has 2 strikeouts and mostly ground balls.
Well, Schwarber clocked one in Pittsburgh off Garrett Cole that he said he was looking for a breaking ball and got it. This guy, Dennis, has almost like a wind-up swing. He turns that front shoulder, picks the right foot up. He's got a lot working in this swing.
Well, you better guess right, or you'll screw yourself into the ground, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he swings so hard.
And for the Cardinals to shift like this, the spray charts have to really skew it this way. They have the fewest shifts in all of baseball this season, as Lackey misses away, and he's got a little stare down for Phil Cuzzi. That one clearly misses, and there is the first base runner for the Chicago Cubs. It's a 1-out walk in the 4th inning. And time to take a look at tonight's playmakers, presented by Chrysler, the 3 rookies. No team that's ever competed in the postseason has had 3 rookie position players starting 3/4 of the games. It looks like, barring injury, that these 3 are going to accomplish that this season.
I'd say that's a lot.
Dynamic.
If they can still walk.
And here's one of them here. And Chris Bryant with Schwarber at first base. And for the first time tonight, Lackey goes into the stretch.
Right, that's a big deal. You think about it, he's gotten a couple of pitches from Cuzzi. He wanted that last one that he walked Schwarber with, but it's a big difference. You start styling, get 10 guys out in a row, and all of a sudden you're in the stretch.
And Bryant on the ground. That's got a chance to be 2. Carpenter to second. Long in time to first. And an inning ender for John Lackey. Bryant doesn't hit the ball on the ground that often. That's a bonus for the Redbirds. Around the horn they go. Still 1-0 Cardinals. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Busch Stadium version 3. Opened in 2006, the year the Cardinals beat the Tigers to win their 10th World Series title. They now have 11 after winning it once again in 2011. And they're trying to make a run for number 12 this season. They have been the alpha dog in this National League Central Division and overall in the National League. But while they may be used to postseason baseball here, Eck, this is a much different October now that the Cubs are back in the mix, and this Cubs-Cardinals matchup, the first we've ever seen in the postseason.
Well, the Cubs are here early, right? They were not supposed to be here in 15, and here they are. And this is a club that, to me, is going to challenge the guard of this division for many, many seasons to come. Joe Maddon's done such a great job. You see all the young players with power that they have. Now the pitching with Arrieta and Lester. I mean, this club could run the table.
That's why I think this first game is so important to the Cardinals. It's kind of a swing game. If the Cubs were to win this game, knowing that Arrieta's waiting on them back in Chicago, that's not a good thought.
Jason Hayward, a line shot in the right field, a base hit. So Hayward turns it around quickly, and the Cardinals have their lead man on and a base stealer.
But Jason turned a lot of things around this year. Led their team in hitting and batting average with .293, but he also turned around his career numbers against left-handed pitching. This ball is scorched. He hit .272 against lefties this year. That was a marked improvement over his past.
You think he'd have more home runs? That ball downstairs he likes to do some damage with, but 13 home runs. I know this is a big ballpark, but he hasn't hit, what, the 26 he hit a few years ago with Atlanta.
Hayward did have a lot of extra base hits, 20-plus steals as well. John Lester allowed 44 stolen bases this year. That is the most in the National League. Peralta swinging away at the first pitch for the Cardinals.
He's always aggressive early in the count when runners on base. But I agree with you, Brian. The tone in your voice was like, why not wait and give Jason a chance to steal a shot?
Right. I mean, that's ridiculous. 44 steals.
Set a team record. Broke the previous record held by Rick Sutcliffe.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hayward had 23 bags this year. He was caught just 3 times. He has a massive lead at first base. Doesn't run. Now, one thing to watch, whenever Lester's on the mound, and you talked about his personal catcher, Eck, and David Ross. Ross has been with Lester for so long. The way to counter those sizable leads is the back pick and the throws to first, throws behind the runner. And David Ross will do that a lot to try to help out his pitcher. Peralta comes up empty with a big swing.
And obviously Lester goes to the slide step a lot. He just did right there.
But look at this lead. Jason Hayward is basically daring him to throw to first. And if you don't know the history, John Lester does not like to throw over there. He's got a little bit of the quote-unquote thing about throwing the ball away. Check out that lead.
And Peralta in the air to right. Long run. Schwarber. That'll slice foul in the seats. Just to give you a comparison of the stolen base story for John Lester. Now, the Cardinals as a team only allowed 69 stolen bases as a pitching staff. Lester's given up 44 when he's on the mound. And Cubs fans, they know the Lester narrative is coming. It is a major weapon for the opposition when they do get speed on the bases, especially in a base stealer like Jason Hayward. Lester almost refuses to throw to first base. And Hayward stays put, but he's on the run with a pitch in the dirt, throw his lead. And Hayward is in on a wild pitch. That's the second for Lester in this game, and just like that, the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Hayward right here, he is gone. That ball didn't take very long. Comes out of the glove. Ross has no chance, but he's secondary lead, and he is gone.
Well, look where he was.
Right, he's already halfway there to begin with.
Yeah. Great read, though. Saw that ball hit it to the dirt and took off.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Johnny Peralta. Jason Hayward at second. And still is inside. In that game against Kansas City last year, Lester, like he did this season, gave up a run in the first. Then pitching for Oakland, he gave up 2 more runs in the third inning. Then he settled in. Still found himself in the game in the 8th inning. When it was all said and done, making a great comeback by the Royals. Lester went 7 in the third innings, but he gave up 6 earned runs in that game.
Yeah, Melvin stayed with it too long. There's no way he should have been in that game in the 8th inning. Came back and burned him.
3 balls, 2 strikes. 4th 3-ball count for Lester. They've all come in the last 5 batters.
Johnny Peralta likes to pull, but he's not a guy that has to have the ball middle in to do that. He likes the ball out away from him. So be careful here, John Lester.
Here's the payoff. And Peralta, swing and a miss. Down he goes. Lester makes a big pitch. And a strikeout for John Lester, which is number 5.
That's a huge pitch for Lester right there, 3-2. He walks him really, but he cannot lay off that cutter. It wasn't that real hard cutter. Almost like a slider.
Yeah, I thought it was even more of a slider than a cutter. That's 2 strikeouts on 3-2 pitches.
One a change
One
up.
was a change.
Well, struck out Piscotty last inning. 1 away. Hayward after that leadoff single and a wild pitch, still at second base, and here is Randall Grichuk. Grichuk, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Talk about the Cardinals shaping their lineup. They have a lot of homegrown players, and their player development certainly should be recognized. But they've made some very shrewd trades as well. Grichuk was part of a trade with the Angels. He came with Peter Borges. Cardinals traded David Freese and Fernando Salas. That was leading up to last season as Grichuk breaks his bat, but just foul. And a count and a ball and 2 strikes.
Cardinals have made a couple of shrewd trades over the course of the last couple of years. The guy on the mound getting Lackey. Where you talk about Alan Craig, right? And Joe Kelly. Craig absolutely just disappeared off the map since he left St. Louis. Joe Kelly ended up having a decent second half for the Boston Red Sox, but look who they got. Basically their ace of the staff after Wainwright goes down.
Right. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Grichuk.
Sub 200 average for Grichuk with runners in scoring position.
And Lester tried to go upstairs. Grichuk lays off.
We were talking about Grichuk's stance earlier, Dennis, and the fact he lays that bat back. That's just there temporarily. I mean, as he's getting ready to swing, if he's getting his hands in the right position to swing it, he looks like everybody else once the pitch is delivered.
Looks like a Judy right now, doesn't he? You know, like he's a slap hitter.
Yep. Well, Hayward was dancing at second. That got Lester's attention. Third base is an option as well to try to steal, especially with 1 out. Hayward has not wanted to pull the trigger yet. He stays put. Grichuk takes a ball. And so the count goes 3-2, another full count, and the Cardinals are now getting deep into at-bats the second time through the batting order.
Lester being really careful. Every run is so crucial. He doesn't want to lay one in there.
And you got a guy with a bad thumb on
Right,
deck.
there's a lamb on deck.
Full count to Grichuk. Lester delivers, called, strike 3. Pitch tracks had it off the plate, but Lester gets the call, and down goes Grichuk for the second out of the inning.
I got to have this one right there. I know it goes around, but boy, it looks pretty where they caught it, doesn't it? Doesn't that look like a strike?
You're the pitcher, Ed.
Doesn't that look like a strike to you? He caught it right there.
Well, Chris Coughlin ought to go look at that and feel like things have been evened up a little bit.
You made Joe jump out of his seat right there. You're like, I got to have that. Joe says, wait a minute.
Wasn't he sitting right? He threw it right where he was sitting.
Because they didn't care if they walked him.
Right.
I was talking to David Ross before the game, and both of these catchers, Molina and Ross, they're so savvy. They know how to talk to umpires. And I was asking David, what's your approach against Phil Cuzzy, the home plate umpire? He goes, I might give him a little advance work. Hey, don't forget, John Lester throws a cutter. It's a big pitch for him, Phil. And sometimes he works it off that outside edge and comes right back in on the plate. Don't give up on it, sir. Well, if he said it that time, it worked. He gets the call. And now Molina, he's swinging away at the first pitch. Fowler on his way, and he's got it, and that will retire the side. So that's a hold 'em for John Lester after a leadoff single. Strands a runner at second. One to nothing, St. Louis. This great rivalry matching up first time in the postseason. A few Cubs fans have made their way into Busch Stadium, but otherwise a sea of red. And they are fired up and ready to go at Wrigley Field. And this series will head back north to Chicago. That'll be Monday for Game 3, and the Cubs have Jake Arrieta lined up to work in that game on Monday. Lackey has a 1-0 lead over Madden and the Cubs. That was a first-inning run. Matt Holliday with an RBI single. And Lackey starts his 5th inning now. Anthony Rizzo at the plate.
Oh, good pitch. Inside, keeping him honest. And then drop that beauty in there.
And the 3 infielders on the right side for Rizzo.
Another one.
Rizzo shows bunt, trying to beat the shift. He's done that in the past. I'm sure the Cardinals would be A-OK with Rizzo trying to drop a bunt every time. Anthony had a big year. 31 homers, 6 in the National League. His 101 RBIs led the Cubs. Ended up third in the NL in that category. Pops this one up. Foul. That one's headed for the seats.
You don't see too many guys shake off Molina. He must have shook off Molina 3 times right there to get that breaking ball down and in.
Look how close Rizzo is to the plate. Like you said, Dennis, that pitch is
going to hit him in the shoe.
Yeah. Look at him now, though, guys. He's up on the end of the bat, choked up a little bit. He gets 2 strikes on him. He's cutting down on his swing a little bit.
No player in the big leagues hit more often than Rizzo this year, and Lackey puts him away with a high fastball. Had some serious run on it, and Rizzo is a strikeout victim. Lackey has 3 now.
Check out this sidearm, almost sidearm delivery that you said had a lot of run on it, but he hadn't seen this delivery the whole time. Over the top fastballs in, a couple curveballs, and then he sort of drops down a little bit, trying to get that ball in, but he punches him out anyway, running across the plate.
One of the signs, too, right there, guys. Molina had to retrieve that baseball and tag him. Did you see how that pitch? I know it was running, but it kind of waffled his glove a little bit. Wasn't able to catch it cleanly.
Yeah, those pitches that come in and they're not the clean catches, those are the ones Mike Matheny said he'll be concerned about. It's the unusual pitch. It's the foul tip into the glove. Molina's dealing with that thumb injury on his catching hand.
I'll tell you, Lackey will not let a pitch go by that he thinks is a strike. He will make a reaction. He cannot help himself.
2-0 to Starlin Castro. Castro in the big leagues at 20. He was a National League hits leader at age 21 in the major leagues. It's been a strange year for him. I'm sure he never thought he'd be A, in the postseason with the Cubs, B, playing second base in the postseason with the Cubs.
I thought Joe Madden paid him as good a compliment as you could pay a player today in our meeting with him, calling him one of the best teammates he's ever had in terms of what he did after he was moved out of shortstop and how he adjusted.
And Castro on the ground to short. He's sure-handed Johnny Peralta for out number 2.
And for Castro, that's after being dogged like big time several years ago, right? Yeah. Lackadaisical play at shortstop. He's turned it all the way around.
All of a sudden, they got another guy that can play shortstop equal to or better than he was playing.
Lackey, 2 up, 2 down with a K here in the 5th inning. Only base runner for the Cubs was a walk by Schwarber last inning. Lackey immediately wiped that out with a double play. And Coughlin, a pop-up. Carpenter, easy. And John Lackey developing into a story here. He has held the Cubs hitless through the first 5 innings at Busch. Tonight's game summary is presented by Geico. Cardinals-Cubs, game 1 of the NLDS, and it is 1-0. Matt Holliday with an RBI single in the first inning, and John Lackey 5 hitless innings against the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, the story of this game is John Lackey, the way that he's commanded the baseball. A couple line drives he's gotten away with.
Colton Wong leads off for St. Louis. Cardinals are at the bottom of their order. We'll see Lackey next, and then back to the top of the frame. And Matt Carpenter. Lester giving up that first inning run on back-to-back hits. Scotty doubled, Holliday an RBI single. Long has a double. That was a little flare in the second inning. That came with 2 outs. And Hayward has a single. Those are the hits against Lester. Last inning, Lester stranded Hayward at second base.
He's run a lot of counts full, but he's made the pitch when he's had to.
And the 0-2, and Wong, a swing and a miss. Not much he can do with that one. Strikeout number 7 for John Lester.
Haven't seen too many curveballs, but that's one of them right there. Talking about way off speed after throwing that hard cutter, gets him way out front. Hadn't seen that.
Cubs with 97 wins this year, and yet they finished 3rd in their division. They would have won any other division in the major leagues with the exception of the National League Central. Cardinals a 100-win season, winning the 3rd consecutive division title. And they'll have home field through the World Series. 5th consecutive postseason for St. Louis as well, and for Mike Matheny, his 4th straight. Has to be among those considered for manager of the year in the National League, especially with the injuries that they dealt with this year. As Lester makes quick work of Lackey. Back-to-back Ks, gives him 8.
And they've been to the NLCS 4 straight years.
Boy, they have not skipped a beat. LaRusso won it, 2011, left, gave the reins to Matheny, and he has not done a thing wrong.
And we saw Matheny here on TBS in that first wild card play-in game back in 2012. And 3 division titles since. 3rd time the Cardinals have had a run of 3 in a row in their storied history. These 2 teams, these 2 franchises started playing back in 1892. They were different names back then. But this is a rivalry that goes back to the beginning of the National League. But the stakes are much higher now. First time in the postseason that they have matched up. Cardinals were 11-8 in the regular season.
I was talking to Bill DeWitt before the game, the owner of the Cardinals, and I was saying, what about this rivalry? And I was just, what do you think? And he says, it's a friendly rivalry.
That's what you said.
And that's what I said.
And that's what Adam Wainwright said.
Did he? I mean, it's just sort of the, they talk about the friendly confines or the friendly rivalry because they've never had this playoff experience. Not like the Yankees and the Red Sox. Drilling people, A-Rod situation, right? That sort of thing.
Well, I'm just going to say that might change over the next 3 or 4 days.
It already changed in September when these 2 matched up. The Cubs won that series, and things got very testy. There's Bill DeWitt.
Boy, what success he's had over his career with these Cardinals.
3-1 to Carpenter. He's got himself in a hitter's count. Carpenter is 0 for 2 tonight.
And Brian, this is what he said he has done that's helped him get into better counts, that's resulted in more home runs. He said, in the past, I was just happy inside outing everything, put the ball in play, get on base. But he said, if I worked the count, I'd get the pitches I want, and then I can cut it loose and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And he's done it. And all the criticism about him giving up a lot of batting average, he hit for the same average he had last year, 272. He just hit 20 more homers, that's all.
Last time up, he went 3-2, almost went out of the ballpark.
Yes, he did.
He had a swing there at a 3-1 pitch. He wasn't trying to hit a flare.
Busch Stadium playing very big, pitcher-friendly tonight. With the wind blowing in a little bit. Schwarber made a nice running catch on Carpenter his last time up.
This is a great place to pitch, without a doubt. This is one of the better ballparks to pitch in. Not that the foul territory is all that much. I mean, it's average. But I think it takes a cannon to hit it out of here. Dead central in those
gaps.
3-2 once again to Carpenter, and that's a high fly ball that's going to hang up there for Schwarber this time. And Carpenter is retired, and John Lester holds serve in the fifth. A 1-2-3 inning. Lackey returns to the mound. Cardinals up 1-0 behind John Lackey. Addison Russell will lead off. He was the closest to a hit in this game for Chicago. Our StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services, and Joe, a beautiful running diving catch by Jason Hayward.
Yeah, he had to go all the way from the top of the arch out there to make that catch. You saw that route efficiency for Jason, 94% on that particular play. He's always been a guy that got good jumps on the ball and took good routes.
And so it is Russell who leads off. Lackey pours in strike one. A hallmark for him this season. 7 out of 10 pitches that he threw this year were first pitch strikes. And that's up the middle, and that'll be a base hit for Russell. The first hit of the night for the Chicago Cubs, and it is Russell who delivers, the rookie shortstop. Lead-off single here in the 6th inning.
Back-to-back fastballs. The last one caught too much of the plate. Wasn't hit all that hard ground ball, but that's life.
That one was up a little bit too.
Yeah, senile ground ball up the middle. It's going to happen.
Lackey's longest no-hit bid this year was 3 innings. Takes this one into the 6th inning. Michael Wacha had the longest in the postseason. He went 7 1/3 back in 2013 for a Cardinal. Here's David Ross now with a runner at first. We got the pitcher Lester on deck. Joe Madden was talking to us about this part of the order for the Cubs, with Ross, personal catcher of John Lester, and then an extremely light-hitting pitcher in Lester who has just 4 hits in his life. So if you're John Lackey, no panic. Good opportunity to get through this inning.
Let's not forget that David Ross caught Lackey in Boston also. So he's very familiar with him and his stuff.
You could run on Lackey a little bit, but the problem is Molina.
And Ross, a big swing, but he fouls it back. He's been a good part of this broadcast talking about the youth serving well here in the postseason and in this series. And then you've got Lackey and David Ross matching up in what is a key at bat here for the Chicago Cubs.
David can ambush a high fastball still.
Ross is 38. Lackey will be 37 later this month.
That's way outside, but you know, the big hit in that 2013 World Series was a curveball that Wainwright threw to Ross, hit a double down the line.
And Ross, a .281 hitter in the postseason. That includes a home run. Hit a homer in a wild card game against the Cardinals while he was playing for the Atlanta Braves. That was the first wild card play in.
Good jump by Russell, but unfortunately Ross was kind of guarding the plate there.
Third base coach Gary Jones going through the signs.
He's trying to make contact. Don't want to ground into a double play.
2-2 the count. See if Russell's on the move again. Stays put. And Ross, ground ball foul.
Joe Madden will do that. He will put his faster runners in motion against a guy who gets a lot of ground balls just to stay out of the double play, even with the pitcher on deck. Might open up a hole for Ross at the same time.
Lackey just giving up his first hit. A leadoff single here in the sixth. Russell at first base, stays put, and a call. Strike three. Ross is out. A strikeout for John Lackey. I'm sure Ross is doing a little groundwork for Lester next inning.
He wears out that outside corner. He's going to get pitches like that. I mean, he stays there constantly. Presentation not all that bad. Ball is outside. Ross knows that he got rung up on a ball that didn't have the plate.
Well, that wasn't even close. And it's not the first one. That wasn't close.
So the first out. Russell still at first. Here's John Lester now, who had never had a hit in his life in the big leagues until he got a single off Lackey earlier this year. That's a wild pitch. That one goes back to the screen. Lester just trying to bunt. And Russell ends up at second base. That's an unforced error for Lackey and the Cardinals.
Third wild pitch of the game.
Boy, he just unleashed his fastball, and Molina had no chance.
That was a huge break for Chicago because Carpenter was right on top of Lester.
See if Lester's still up there to bunt. No, he's going to swing here. And pitch is low. Molina blocks it. Now Lackey, pitching against the Cubs earlier this year, gave up the first ever hit to Lester. That was an infield hit.
That was a feat in itself, right?
It was monumental. 0 for 66 before he got that single.
Really?
Had 4 hits this year, and 3 of them came against the Cardinals for Lester. Looks like he's up there to swing. And again, not bunting, but a ground ball. And Lackey is there for Piscotty. That is out number 2, but Russell does advance to third base. Back to the top of the order we go. 2 away for Lackey. Take a look at the upcoming postseason television schedule. Mets-Dodgers coming up next here on TBS. Ernie, Cal Ripken Jr., Ron Darling, Sam Ryan, they are all there. Back at it tomorrow, doubleheader on TBS. Game 2s, Cubs, Cardinals, Mets, Dodgers.
Pitching, huh?
Great pitching. DeGrom and Kershaw will match up in the Dodger-Mets game after hours. And we do want to quickly say and give our best to the legendary Vin Scully, who will not be working the postseason on Dodger Radio. He is going through a medical procedure, and we're all thinking about you, Vin, the greatest ever. And we hope there is a speedy recovery there for the legendary Vin Scully.
That ground out by Lester, not insignificant because of how many different ways Russell could score from third here. Puts a little pressure on the Cardinals defense, puts a little pressure on Lackey.
Fowler takes one down and in.
Lackey has punched him out on a breaking ball. Plays to the breaking ball, but you can't just throw your best breaking ball.
Fowler with 3 hits, including a home run in the wild card game on Wednesday. 0 for 2 tonight. Big swing and a miss. Fowler from the Rockies to the Astros, made his way to Chicago from Houston. Runner at third, 2 away. Here's the 1-1, and Fowler takes a strike. 1-2 the count.
Boy, that corner is big.
Yes, it is.
That corner is huge.
It's swollen. How many times he's hit it or come close to it.
There's no way he throws him a hook here, is there?
That's the end.
Yeah,
They're jamming him.
Coming in. High fastball from Lackey. Getting runners in from third base. Bit of an area of concern this year for the Cubs, and Fowler was among the worst in that category this season. Just a 165 batting average with runners in scoring position. He's got a big one at third right now with 2 outs.
Yeah, and Lackey allows a sub 200 average with runners in scoring position and 2 out.
He's way off the plate, Fowler. Look at that.
And the 2-2, and Fowler sends one deep into right field. That is way back there. Grichuk out the wall. He's got it for the out. Woo, yikes. Dexter Fowler almost a 2-run homer. Instead, a long, loud out. Lackey still in the shutout. The 2015 NLDS on TBS, presented by T-Mobile. Cardinals lead it 1-0. Lackey's no-hitter is lost. Shutout still intact as Stephen Piscotty leads off for St. Louis. Lester gets a swing and a miss to get the bottom of the 6th underway. Well, they are still oohing and ahhing here at Busch Stadium. That ball had the flight, looked like it had the distance. As we mentioned early, the wind is a factor. It's blowing in. It's that cool October fall feel, and the ball did not travel, and Fowler misses a go-ahead home run by just a couple of feet.
Everybody in the ballpark thought it was a homer.
Yeah. Lackey thought it was gone. Fowler thought it was gone.
Molina
thought it was gone.
Phil Cuzzi.
Yeah.
Now Lester trying to keep the Cardinals at 1. Great pitching matchup. Lester has had to work much harder than Lackey in this game. A lot of deep counts. Pitches per plate appearance is up against Lester. A lot of full counts. Cardinals have 4 hits. They scored in the first. It was Piscotty who doubled the first hit of the game. Doubled to right field, and then Holiday drove him in. Cardinals on the board right away in that first inning. Playing first base tonight, Stephen Piscotty's played all over for Matheny. Reaches out on that one. And a fly ball right in the tracks of Fowler. And that'll be out number 1. Let's take a step.
All right, guys. Yeah, look at this. Look how far Lackey, first of all, missed his target. It's outside, pitches down and in. Now watch Fowler is in the trot. And look at Molina, how dejected he is because he knows it's going out, and mostly because of where the location was.
Totally. I tell you, this ball's gone probably in the daytime, but Fowler thought it was gone. The problem was Fowler stepped off the plate. He'd thrown him so many fastballs in, he was looking in. If Lackey had thrown the ball where he wanted to, he would have punched him out.
And Holiday jumping on the first pitch, bounces it foul.
But you get away with a mistake. That's the ball game.
He did, and he missed his location by 3 or 4 feet.
I think Lackey, as well as he is commanding the ball, just a thought, I think he knew right where he wanted to throw it. And Fowler steps away from the plate. I've never seen a catcher so far from a batter, because Molina was outside and Fowler is stepping way back, and I think Lackey just made up his mind. You know what? He thinks something inside's coming. I'll give him one way in there.
You know, he'd thrown the ball so many times inside, you get locked in that slot. Yeah. It's hard to all of a sudden throw a ball away after you've been wearing out that corner.
Holiday, good numbers against Lester, and
David Ross held that one there. That was the one that got rung up on earlier. Lester having a little walk.
You know, from this camera angle from center field, it looks like that's on the corner, but this is to the right.
Slightly off center. Pitch number 88, and offensive swing by Holiday. He had made up his mind. And Lester came with an off-speed pitch.
When I was talking about Holiday and the way he said that Lester likes to pitch him, he said everything's coming to me where I've got to keep my hands inside the baseball. He said more recently he's been throwing me more change-ups. And he said, and I don't know if he's going to continue that tonight or not. I've seen a lot more in the last couple of times I've faced him.
Lester barking after that pitch.
Yeah. Sounds like Jake Peavy.
Familiar foes this year. This is the 6th time Lester has pitched against the Cardinals this season. 7th career. Faced him twice in September and tied him up. And that's the pitch that has made John Lester a star in this game. A cut fastball pouring in on the right-handed batter. 2 up, 2 down for Lester. And now with 9 punch-outs. Oh, it is Chevy Truck Month. Time to make a strong decision by choosing a Chevy Silverado. Chevrolet is proud to be the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. It's a beautiful night in St. Louis. Temperatures on the cool side in the 60s. As Hayward on the first pitch. Nice play, Rizzo on the backhand. Underhand flip to Lester. John Lester holding fast here, but it's Lackey and the Cardinals with the lead. Beautiful night, Busch Stadium, St. Louis. 1-0 Cardinals. A first inning run is holding up as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Mike Matheny making a change here. Mark Reynolds comes in to play first base. That moves Stephen Piscotty into right field. It is Grichuk who is now out of the game. And assuming that is just a straight up change, there'll be no other place to put him. So Reynolds will bat second next inning. We'll see if Matt Weiner can find out why. Bit of an unusual move for Matheny. Schwarber leads away for the Cubs.
You know, we kind of expected something like that, Brian, late in the ballgame when we thought it would be Holiday coming out.
Makes you wonder. Both of these managers very liberal with their changes. And if they have leads late, they do make defensive changes, and that is possible. That's all that could be here. If Grichuk is not throwing the ball well. There's a bunt by Schwarber with the shift on. Tough play. Bare hand. The throw not in time. And Schwarber with a bunt single defying the shift. And a man on for the Cubs. That is their second hit. Back-to-back innings with leadoff singles for Chicago.
This wasn't exactly a blueprint bunt. You know, he bunted it real hard at shortstop position. I thought he was going to throw him out, but Schwarber, he runs pretty good to get down the line and beat that out.
You know, you don't have to be perfect though when they've got that shift on. If you can just put it down and make it fair, even hard, you've got a chance. Not a bad idea at all to lead off the inning, representing the tying run.
And so Lackey will face Chris Bryant now. Activity in the Cardinal bullpen. Lackey went through the first 5 innings of this game, pitching out of the stretch only once. After a walk to Schwarber, he immediately got a double play. Lefty Segras getting loosed. Kevin Segras, normally the setup man. But you might see him try to pitch across multiple innings in this game 1.
And that's the way it should be. I mean, the playoffs, I mean, you got to go 2, you go 2.
Matt Weiner's just reporting to us that Randal Grichuk is fine. No injury there, no illness. So this was a defensive move for Matheny to get Grichuk out. Piscotty, a good outfielder in right field, and Reynolds, a good first baseman in the game. Lackey protecting a 1-0 lead. Bryant fouls it away. 1 ball, 1 strike on Chris Bryant.
There's nothing not to like about this guy. He's tall, he's rangy. He might be able to put on a few pounds as he gets a little older. But a great swing, tremendous bat speed.
Boy, does he lift or what? I mean,
yeah.
They were talking about he punches out on balls that are middle.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to launch him. He swings underneath it or something.
The swing is a lift, not the free weight you're talking about.
Yes.
Now Bryant 6'5", 215, and he can really run. He's a tough guy to double up, and even though he bounced into a 5-4-3 double play in the 4th inning, hit the ball hard right at an infielder, but he doesn't hit the ball on the ground that often. He does strike out a lot, and he hits rockets. Cubs franchise record holder for home runs by a rookie. And a called strike. Lackey hits the outside edge. Velocity is still up there for Lackey. That one came in at 93 miles an hour.
And that is his side of the plate. He wears out that side of the plate. And the tail tries to just sort of dot that corner.
And I think these right-handed hitters are giving up on it a lot.
Yes.
2-2 the count. Only pitch number 80 here in the 7th inning for Lackey as he slings one sidearm.
Well, even his finish, Dennis, when he drops his arm angle, his right leg is landing almost toward third base, trying to brace himself.
That's not John Lackey. That's something new. It really is.
Rizzo looming large on deck for the Cubs. Lackey's been in control. Worked around the leadoff single last inning. Stranding a runner at third base. Bryant's lined out, bounced into a double play. Hit the ball hard both times. And Bryant fouls that one away.
Now, he and Bryce Harper played together out in Vegas, right?
Right. They were on a traveling team together. And Harper was playing up. Bryant was playing up a level. Joey Gallo was part of that Las Vegas group, not necessarily all together. And another big leaguer, Tyler Wagner of Milwaukee. And Bryant, a swing and a miss. Down he goes. That is a big one for John Lackey, and that gets him on there feeding Bush. First out of the 7th inning.
That was a 93-mile-an-hour paintball. That ball didn't really run back that much, but it had enough hair on it to get by him. This ball is thrown by him. He's a little late. He reaches back. He needed this pitch. I mean, this is one of the biggest pitches of the night.
And it was a beauty.
A comeback sinker from Lackey. Strikeout number 5 for him. One away in the 7th inning. Here is Rizzo. Strikeout victim his last time up. Strike 1.
He is hitting his spots now.
He's been extremely efficient tonight, Lackey. Rizzo's 0 for 2. Had a weakly hit pop up to second base in the 2nd inning, and then Lackey punched him out looking. With one career hit against him.
And they can't shift on him with a runner at first.
Tying run at first base. Rizzo with big power representing the go-ahead run. 7th inning in St. Louis, and Molina asked for and is granted timeout.
I wonder if that will alter the way they pitch him, Dennis. You know, they weren't afraid to come in on him. They jammed him a couple of times when they had the shift on. As you said, if you're going to shift, you got to still pitch him in. What if they dare go in there?
Going away. Breaking ball.
And it is a breaking ball, rolled over foul. Mike Matheny asked these Cardinal fans, and the players did as well, the Cardinal players, social media and throughout the interview sessions yesterday, be loud. Really give the Cubs a sense that they're in the postseason. He talked to us about it before the game. He wants an enthusiastic atmosphere. And they're chanting Lackey's name right now.
What's this? Oh.
I'm going to ask him to look at the baseball. I don't know if that came from Madden and the Cubs or if Cuzzy just wanted to take a look himself.
The ball didn't hit the ground, right? I mean, there's no reason to.
I don't know. Is that the one he rolled over, the foul ball?
Maybe that was it. But right now, you got to throw him gas in, don't you? Don't leave it.
Rizzo standing right on top of the plate.
Going away again.
0-2 pitch. And back in there. Shot to Reynolds. Step on the bag. Got to tag him. And out at second. Again, Lackey goes inside, not outside. And a double play to end the inning. World Series with Lester and Lackey, St. Louis and Boston. Lester, pivotal part of the World Series champion Boston Red Sox, started game 1 in 5, earning wins in both. He pitched a combined 15 1/3 innings. He was brilliant in that World Series. Just one earned run allowed. Don't forget, you can share your favorite baseball memories all season long using hashtag MLB Memory Bank.
Might have been the MVP if it wasn't for Big Poppy with about hit 750 or something, didn't he, in that series? Something crazy.
Big World Series win number 2 for the Red Sox. Johnny Peralta will lead off. We're going to give you a look at that double play that ended the inning. Mark Reynolds just entering the game for defensive purposes. And boy, he made a beautiful start to that double play. And Lackey keeps the shutout intact.
I wouldn't pretend to suggest anything to the Cardinals in the way they do their business. But the way Piscotty looked at first base, he could be a first baseman for them on an everyday basis for that size he has, and he certainly hits with power and hits enough to play there every day. Just thinking ahead a little bit.
And that's good thinking. Way to play GM. Bouncing ball on a hop. Peralta to Addison Russell, and there is out number 1. All right, let's take it back, Joe. What'd you see here with Mark Reynolds at first base?
Well, first of all, they came in. The target was away, but again, he missed way in. But it was a good miss because it jammed Rizzo badly. And Reynolds, a normal, came up as a third baseman, certainly can handle the glove. Made a nice play there.
It's amazing the timing, him just coming in like that and tagging the bag and the footwork involved in turning that double play. But what's amazing there, and I wouldn't go to say that they did that on purpose, but the pitch was the opposite location. The second time he's done that, one almost left the ballpark. Right? I mean, you're talking about setting up outside, Molina way outside, and he throws it down and in to Rizzo, gets a double play ball. There's no way that's on purpose. It's just a misfire.
2 misfires. One leads to a double play as Reynolds cuts it loose. Check in with Matt Weiner. He's got more on Randall Grichuk, who came out for Reynolds prior to last inning.
Yeah, fellas, it's an all-hands-on-deck mentality right now. It was Grichuk who came out in that defensive switch, returned to the bench during that half inning, and he was the first one up to give Mark Reynolds a high five after that double play.
Grichuk started the game as the right fielder. Thought Holiday would be the first move out. There's Grichuk talking to John Jay, who also made the postseason roster. Reynolds, very underrated first baseman. Underrated defender. Known for his high volume of strikeouts and his high volume of home runs. Right off the end of the bat, right to Lester, who bobbles, underhands, and Rizzo with the stretch and the pick for the out. And they might want to take a look at this one in replay.
Even when the ball's hit back to him on tosses to first, he would much prefer to run the ball to first and underhand it to the first baseman. He had no choice here but to recover and just get rid of it.
That's an easy decision for the Cardinals. They took a look just like you are here. Lafiti says no challenge.
A little easier if you just flip that ball, but he doesn't know how to flip that ball.
Great play by Rizzo to save him.
He saves a lot of errors, doesn't he? Excellent first baseman, Rizzo.
If he doesn't stretch on this ball, that's a base hit or an error. Runner on first.
Once again, his shoes look faster than he was actually moving. But this time it was Reynolds.
Here's Yadier Molina with 2 away. And on the first pitch, again, he grounds to second. Castro will make the play. John Lester has retired 12 in a row, but he's down 1-0. Cubs are coming up. We're headed to the 8th. We're headed to the 8th. Let's go inside the booth, presented by Esurance, proud partner of Major League Baseball. Brian Anderson with Dennis Eckersley, the Hall of Famer, Joe Simpson, and guys, a beautiful pitching matchup here. Big game pitchers rising to the occasion.
I mean, it's exciting. A 1-0 game's exciting. You talk about Lackey having a no-hitter after 5 innings, making some great pitches. And Lester's matching him pitch for pitch. 1 bad pitch, 1 run.
Yeah, difference in the ball game were 2 back-to-back hits in the first inning that produced a run for the Cardinals. That's it. Both pitchers have been outstanding.
Matt Holliday with the RBI. There's a first pitch swing by Castro, and Peralta in the hole makes a play. Doesn't have the range he used to, but he certainly positions himself well. And looks like the end of the line here for John Lackey. So Matheny's going to make a move. He's got this very talented late inning high leverage bullpen. And in the regular season, you'd never take John Lackey out with a shutout. But Matheny will take the ball. And Lackey's going to get a huge ovation on his way out.
Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Well, John Lackey working on a shutout, but Mike Matheny will pull the plug. 7 1/3, 2 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Had a no-hitter until the 6th inning. And those 2 hits were infield singles, I should say. One of them an infield hit. And now, Joe, it's going to be Kevin Segras, who was fantastic setting up for Trevor Rosenthal this year.
Yeah, Mike Matheny went out to bring this guy in a lot, more than any other reliever in baseball. 81 games. Loves his fastball, sits in the mid-90s. He's got a changeup, but his splits are odd. Lefties have hit him better than right-handers. He's struck out more right-handers than left-handers.
Chris Coughlin at the plate. And if you're wondering why the pitching change, heck, I'm guessing it's Coughlin's history against Lackey.
Because if you look tonight, he made Coughlin look bad. Punched him out looking on a fastball and a weak pop-up. But as you said, the numbers are 471 coming in. That's exactly what it is.
Coughlin, a former Rookie of the Year with the Marlins. Back in 09, has found his way here once again with the Cubs. He's bounced all around, too. He's played the infield. Tried him at second base for a time. Moved him to the outfield. 1-1 pitch. Segras deals a strike, a high strike. And it's 1-2.
Whoa. That ball looked tall to me. He's had a big outside corner, and then he's going to give him some high strikes. I mean, that's a big zone.
Coughlin with a career high 16 homers this year. Also had a career best in walks. He's up there with 1 out. Addison Russell is on deck. And the 1-2 is in there. A cold strike. Seegers comes in and puts away Coughlin for the second out of the inning.
Joe's still mad at the pitch before.
I said, what are you doing?
Right. See, that ball did catch corner, maybe, but the pitch before was not a strike. Madden's not real happy. You knew sooner or later somebody's going to bark at Cuzzy.
Cuzzy ripped that mask off. He's barking at Joe Madden, giving it right back to him.
Madden up on the top step.
And Russell with a swing and a miss. Cardinal fans will remember this, but Phil Cuzzy had a famous ejection in a postseason game that involved the Cardinals. That was back in 2005. That was Game 4 of the NLCS. He threw out Jim Edmonds and then Tony La Russa in that game. And that ejection, or those ejections, were for balls and strikes as well. It is the Cubs who are working on the home plate umpire. They are down, and Segrist has Russell in an 0-2 count.
4-1 more strikeouts against right-handers and lefties for Segrist. And I mean, he's got a good fastball, but that changeup he threw Russell here earlier in the count was a good one.
Lackey started the inning. Segrist trying to finish it. A ball and 2 strikes, and it's high for a ball.
No wonder he's been in there 81 times this year.
Workhorse. Those are the splits you're talking about, Joe. Been much better against right-handers.
100 points higher for lefties.
He put Coughlin away with a strikeout.
I got him set up for a changeup, but I don't know. He might go back upstairs again.
2-2 to Russell. Now remains a 2-2. Kevin Segrist, those 81 games, the most in the major leagues. And Seth Maness, who is in this Cardinal bullpen, finished 5th in the major leagues in appearances. He worked in 76 games. All getting the ball to Rosenthal, one of the dominant closers in the game. 2-2 and a swing and a miss. Russell is down on strikes. And the shutout is alive. Segrist gets the final 2 outs in the 8th. 1-0 Redbirds. Let's take a look at tonight's forecaster presented by FanDuel. Game 1, so important in a 5-game series or a best of 5. 73% of Game 1 winners going on to win that series. There have been 29 sweeps during that time. Lester continues. He has retired 12 in a row. The last time the Cardinals had a base runner was Jason Hayward's single to lead off the 4th inning. And Lester stranded Hayward at second base. Colton Wong leads off for St. Louis. Lester's spot is due up second in the 9th inning. Certainly will be his final inning, and the Cubs have bullpen activity now.
That's one of those occasional breaking balls he throws, and it was a good one.
Punched him out on a curveball last time up.
Lester giving up a first inning run. Matt Holliday with an RBI. And John Lackey was brilliant tonight. 5 no-hit innings. Didn't give up a base runner until the 4th inning. Cubs threatened with a runner at third in the 6th inning. And Lackey held serve and then got a key double play in the 7th. Segrist in relief for him last inning. Pencil Lackey in for 7 in the 3rd. And Wong rolls over one to second base. Starlin Castro will make the play. There is out number 1. Follow every pitch of the postseason with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Stay connected with highlights, replay reviews, scores, pitch tracking, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download the At Bat app today. Pinch hitter for the Cardinals, Tommy Pham. Cardinal fans recognizing this moment for Pham. Long struggle in the minor leagues, finally making his way to the big leagues.
You get an ovation like that when you pinch hit, you know he did something this year.
Late in the season, Pham had a little window of a couple of weeks where he really carried the Cardinals. And in one game had 11 total bases, a couple of home runs in a game against Milwaukee in September.
Well, again, they had to have somebody, and it turned out to be a lot of bodies fill in for Matt Holliday in left field, trying to find somebody that had some power, driving some runs. He was one of them.
27-year-old rookie. Did make a few appearances last year. He got in 6 games, but Matheny had some decisions to make with his roster. Matt Adams left off the roster. Pham has the ability to run to center field. And his first postseason appearance right here and now.
I love that shot of Matheny and Molina. Gives you a little bit of an insight, too, into the intensity of Yadi Molina. I mean, eye to eye with his manager, talking about the 9th inning.
Well, they're like 2 managers, really.
Yeah, they are.
Lester in a 3-1 count, and Pham launches one. Tommy Pham will watch this one fly away.
He get a 3-1 fastball. That's what you're supposed to do with a 3-1 fastball. No ballpark is going to hold this. This kid hit an absolute bomb. Look at him leave her. That ball's crushed.
Hands inside the baseball. Great extension. No doubt.
They measured it at 431 feet. Carpenter takes a ball. Tommy Pham in his first postseason at-bat leaves the yard. And how about the buttons that Mike Matheny is pushing in the last couple of frames? The Segrist call, taking Lackey out, and Pham gets the at-bat, and see you later. Mabry, the Cardinal hitting coach. That's a good guy to stand next to when a pinch hitter just goes deep.
How am I doing, Coach?
That is the third Cardinal rookie to homer in his first postseason at bat. Tommy Pham.
Is that what you used to do to a 3-1 fastball?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
in my dreams.
Broke his chain. That'll be worth it. Put that one on the mantle as well as Lester misses down and away. So now it is the Cardinals up 2-0.
Tell you what, there were a lot of bus rides on the flight of that baseball going out of here. And he enjoyed that trot. .747 career minor league games for Tommy Pham. Got a little taste last year. 58 major league games in his career. First postseason game he goes deep on John Lester. That's home run number 9 allowed in the postseason for Lester. And that gives Rosenthal a little breathing room for the 9th inning as Lester back in a 3-1 count, and he's all smiles, and why wouldn't he be? Yeah, and all Lester had done was retire 13 in a row.
He hadn't walked anybody all night long.
And Carpenter draws the walk. Now Lester coming up against it here, and Madden is going to take the slow walk out. Pitching change for the Cubs. 9 3-ball counts Lester got into. He walked only 1. That was the first. And on most nights, 2 runs in the postseason across 7+ innings is good enough. But not for Lester tonight. Pitching change for the Cubs. Runner at first, 1 out as Madden goes to the bullpen. Doubleheader with the Cubs and Cardinals game 2. Mets and Dodgers the same Sunday. Royals Astros resume game 3. Royals just winning just as we hit the air. It's just the first home win in this postseason. Road teams are now 5-1. The Cardinals are trying to make it the second victory. Pedro Strop is in the game for Chicago to face Stephen Piscotty with a runner at first.
The master of the slider, a bunch of sliders to go along with a good fastball, but ultimately he's going to throw you a slider.
Carpenter at first, Piscotty, and that ball gets away from Ross. Back to the screen it goes. And Carpenter will advance. Takes him out of a double play opportunity.
He threw such a good slider that Ross couldn't catch it. The ball was almost a strike.
It's going to be a pass ball officially to get Carpenter to second base.
See the bite on this slider. Ball's trying to catch it, make a strike out of it. Got away from him.
Could be a big one. On that out, Piscotty a chance to drive in a run. And that ball's deep. Stephen Piscotty sends one way back in left field. And there she goes. Two-run home run, Stephen Piscotty. All this talk about the Cubs rookies, and it is the Cardinal rookies who deliver in the 8th inning. 4-0 St. Louis.
Hanger. Big time hanger. That's where it's supposed to go.
Strop has had a lot of problems at Busch Stadium. And maybe why Joe Madden brought him in to try to get that out of his system. Coming into tonight, 5 games, 2 innings, 7 runs allowed.
It's not out of his system yet.
No, it's not.
And here is Holiday now, still 1 out. And he's chasing that first pitch. Boy, did you think, Cardinal fan, that your 2 rookies would be the ones with the curtain calls tonight? Tommy Pham, Stephen Piscotty. 8th inning home runs as Holiday skies this one foul. And that's going to be in the seats. Let's send it down to Matt Weiner. He's got more on the Stanford grad, Stephen Piscotty.
Yeah, B.A., he went back to Stanford in the offseason to finish a custom degree in something called atmosphere and energy engineering. I wasn't smart enough to know what that is, so I looked it up. It has something to do with solar power and renewable energy. Piscotty just found the power source here in St. Louis.
So many play on words you can offer with that, because he gave the Cardinals exactly that this year. Renewable energy. Stephen Piscotty. What an eruption here in the 8th inning. 3 runs are in. It was a 1-0 game. Madden sent Lester back out. Tommy Pham and Stephen Piscotty all smiles.
Boy, he got a room service hanging slider.
Former first-round draft pick. Never would have imagined he would have been in this position if you go back a calendar year. 1 ball, 2 strikes in the dirt. Count goes full now.
But it seems like, Brian, with the Cardinals, when they have turnover, they stay within their own organization primarily. They've got more homegrown players on their roster than any other team in the postseason.
No doubt, and more coming.
Yeah.
Great talent that has yet to arrive in the big leagues. Half their roster is made up of homegrown players. Rizzo to Strop, and Holiday is out number 2. Time for an update. Let's check in with Casey in Atlanta. What do you have, Casey? Well, that's a great point. He's been a dominant regular season pitcher, the reigning Cy Young and MVP winner in the National League last year. And an interesting decision there for Don Mattingly. Zach Greinke had a fantastic year. It figures to be Greinke versus Arrieta for the Cy Young Award this season. And Kershaw gets the ball for the Dodgers tonight. And DeGrom, a former Rookie of the Year, he's been outstanding. And the Mets roll out 3 of the best young pitchers in the game.
How do you explain that failure in postseason by Kershaw? It's almost like David Price. What, he's 0-6 in the postseason? I mean, you go tell me why.
Hayward, weakly hit ground ball. Rizzo to Strop. The inning is over, but the damage is done. It's rookie time in St. Louis as well. Tommy Pham, first career postseason at bat. Piscotty does the same. 4-0 Cardinals. Busch Stadium, St. Louis, game 1. Cardinals with a 3-run 8th inning. 2 400-foot home runs by Piscotty and Pham. And one of the game's best closers in this one. Not a save situation with a 4-0 lead, but Trevor Rosenthal will match up against Chris Denorfia, who is pinch hitting for the Cubs. And strike one from Rosenthal at 98 miles an hour.
Well, a lot more comfortable than coming in with a 1-run lead. You see what he's done. 48 out of 51. If it wasn't for Melanson, he would have led the league.
Set a Cardinal franchise record for saves. Quickly 0-2 on Denorfia.
This guy's got almost 100 hair with a changeup. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Cardinals have made outfield changes as well. Everybody in a new position as Denorfia rolls one foul. Tommy Pham hit the key home run in that 8th inning to make it 2-0. And he stays in the game to play center field.
Piscotty's just running out of innings. He's going to try to play every position tonight, but I don't think he's going to make it.
Piscotty now in left field. There's Piscotty. Started at first, then went to right. Now he's in left. Hayward is in right field. And a call, strike 3. Rosenthal rings the bell on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. And out number 1 here in the 9th inning.
Oh, that outside corner has been a strike all night long with a 99 piece. Little 99 on the corner just to stay in shape. Joe does not like it.
How about this, guys? These key parts of their bullpen, the Cardinals, and their draft order. Seth Manis was the highest draft at 11th round. Trevor Rosenthal in there now is drafted in the 21st round. And Kevin Segrist, who struck out the 2 guys he faced last inning, 41st round.
That's amazing.
And that speaks to the player development of the Cardinals.
Sure does.
Here's Soler pinch hitting. Jorge Soler, another rookie for the Cubs.
Somebody saw Rosenthal and said, hey, I think we could do something with this 99 stuff. Huh?
A lot of credit goes right there. John Mozeliak, the general manager of the Cardinals. Make a strong case for him as executive of the year with the moves that he made, trades that he made, the call-ups that he made, having the trust in his player development system. Soler, it was some question whether he'd be on the postseason roster or not. He missed a couple of months out of the season with an ankle and an oblique injury. He has a world of talent, a ton of tools.
One strong dude.
Signed a long-term contract, a 9-year deal with the Cubs out of Cuba. Rosenthal in a 3-1 count. Cubs down 4-0, and that's ball 4. Soler in his first postseason at bat draws the walk. Now the Cardinals were 87-1 this year when they led after 8 innings. That's a phenomenal number. But the one came recently in September against Milwaukee, and it was a 7-run inning for the Brewers. Rosenthal started that inning.
He gave up 2 home runs?
He gave up 1.
Who gave up a slam? Somebody gave up a slam.
It was a grand slam. Rosenthal gave up the grand slam.
Well, it's all about fastball command for him. I mean, he uses other pitches, but if his fastball is not hitting his spots like it did for the call third strike on Denorfia, he has a lot of base runners out there.
Dexter Fowler, a swinging foul.
I mean, when you throw that hard, when you're off a tick, it looks way off. I didn't have that problem.
Cubs trying to keep hopes alive here. Getting started with a strikeout.
Change up.
That's the other part of Rosenthal's game. He's got a great change of pace pitch to go along with that 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
It's like a parachute piece, isn't it?
He's got a breaking ball, too.
0-2 the count. It goes. It has been a strike tonight. Not in the sequence with Fowler. Fowler almost had a game-changing moment. A long fly ball out. backing Grichuk up to the wall back in the 6th inning. Would have given him the lead. Lackey was terrific. 7 1/3. Segrist at 2 in the 8th, and now Rosenthal.
Look where Molina set up way outside. He thought he got him. All hung up.
I couldn't believe it. Ballpark's playing big tonight. And a call, strike 3. Rosenthal again. A backwards K. He hangs on the Cubs. 2 outs in the 9th.
That has been a huge barrel tonight around home plate for strike zone.
I would have loved this guy. I would have loved this guy.
Beautiful images brought to us by Goodyear tonight. Goodyear, more driven. And settling in on the last hope for the Chicago Cubs. Best of 5 series. First ever postseason matchup. Schwarber down the left field line. Fair. On the move was Soler. He'll end up at third base. And Kyle Schwarber, wasting no time, slaps one down the line. That's going to send the tying run into the on-deck circle. And that's going to bring Chris Bryant to the plate here in the 9th inning.
Chris Bryant this year on first pitches hit .500. He was 36 for 72 with 7 homers. So don't be surprised, even though the tying runs in the on-deck circle, don't be surprised to see him try to ambush something on the first pitch.
Well, Bryant tonight, card shows 0 for 3. Hit a shot his first time up, a line drive out that Holiday made a nice running catch on. And then the double play ball in the 4th inning was a well hit ball off the bat. Lackey struck him out in the 7th inning. Might have been the key moment after Schwarber had led off the inning with a single.
Good trip to the mound by Molina.
Got Wainwright warming up, which is kind of interesting just in itself.
Good. Well, it's a saved situation for a new pitcher at this point with the tying run on deck. Not so for Rosenthal. But that's a nice weapon for Matheny to have down there. Chris Bryant takes the first pitch. Missing at 99. Well, there's a sight for Cardinal eyes that they did not expect.
He has not pitched at home since May. Actually, since April.
Achilles injury.
It's nice just to get the blood flowing, really.
Two 2-0. Close pitch.
And that's the scary part about Rosenthal. He didn't, not so much this year, but last year he had some control problems. He conquered them this year.
2 men are out, 9th inning. Cardinals with a 4-0 lead. In the regular season, you call it a comfortable lead, but not so in the postseason.
You know, I think I just try to throw it somewhere over by the left-handed batter's box and expect to get the call.
Matheny's pushed all the right buttons tonight. Bryant trying to get Rizzo to the plate, and now Molina's going to head back out. Now Matheny wants to come out. I'm not sure if Molina has encouraged his manager to come out. I don't know if this is strategy or injury. This is interesting.
I can't imagine too many pitchers not willing to go along with whatever Yadi Molina wanted.
But he looked pretty stern, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it was about, but it's almost like it appeared that Yadi needed some backup on that.
Right, didn't it?
There's a lot on this pitch right here. Got a power hitter on deck.
Shake off a fastball or what?
Rizzo due next. Here's a 2-0, and Bryant lets it loose, and he fouls it away. He was late. 97 on the fastball. Back to the Heat. 2-1. Bryant fouls another one away, and that one tied him up as well. So now Rosenthal has come back after the manager's visit. 2-2 the count. And a call, strike 3, and the ball game is over. Rosenthal strikes out Bryant, and the Cardinals win game 1. 4-0 the final. A shutout for the Cardinals. Combined, Lackey the winner, Segrist, and then Rosenthal as Lackey beats John Lester. And the Cardinals win the first game of this best-of-5 series.